Hello guys, today we'll be reviewing Rocky. And yes, Rocky is a classic 70s movie. Some people can get this confused. It's 80s, but came out in the 70s. And yes, Rocky is a classic movie that I think almost everybody loves. That's why I had 8.1 out. And I thought it would have a higher score on IMDb of all sites. But again, that's IMDb, the weird. Rotten Tomatoes is 94% and Metacritic is 30%. I won't be surprised if this movie has a very high score on Rotten Tomatoes. It has a 69. That's a weird. That's Rotten Tomatoes. Nobody likes Rotten Tomatoes. But yep, Rocky is a classic movie, and yeah, it's one of the. And yes, Rocky is a very great movie. It's about the guy named Rocky Balboa. He is a small-time boxer in Philadelphia, and is chosen by Apollo Creed. And yes, basically, he has to train. And yes, Apollo Creed doesn't actually really train, but Rocky, he basically trains for this big fight, because it's a big fight between Apollo Creed and Rocky. And yes, the real fellow sister. And yes, he becomes the relationship of Adrian. And yeah, I read the part. But yep, Rocky is a very emotional and emotionally satisfying movie. And yes, basically the fight is pretty great. The battle at the end of the movie, what's the movie's all leading up to. So yes, of course, people like what this, a lot of people would just some people would, yeah, a lot of them, yeah, I can see why the Rotten Tomatoes score is pretty low, because a lot of people are like, oh, this movie's so light on action, but the movie is really about the character development of the characters. It's not really about the fights. Okay, yes, a lot. I do like those types of movies where it is less about the character development, is a lot more about the fights. There's an entire TV series about that. It's called Dragon Ball Z. But yeah, Rocky, a lot of good character development. Basically, they're trying to show, like in the movie, they're showing you that he's basically just a small time guy. His apartment is not really that great in shape. And of course, he has an emotion, a connection with animals, including his two turtles and fish and the dog that he later gets in the movie. And yes, this movie is a very emotionally powerful movie. And I'm going to see the rest of the movies, of course, because this movie is so amazing and so awesome. So yep, I give this movie a simple 10 out of 10. There is no lower score that this movie gets, because it's amazing. It's a masterpiece. I see why everybody likes this movie. It's a very emotionally and satisfying movie. It's a very great emotional movie about this guy. Basically, he becomes the underdog. He never gives up, and yeah, he's a pretty great role model. That's like another similar character from a TV show about fighting. A guy who never gives up about his goals and his dreams. So that's basic. And yes, he even has his own statue in Pennsylvania. He even has his own statue in Pennsylvania as well. Yeah. And yeah, he even has his own statue in there, where they unveil a massive statue of him in real life. And yeah, even and now the steps in the movie are now are also called the Rocky Steps. Kind of like how the stairs from the Joker movie are now called the Joker stairs. And yep, there's an actual statue of Rocky, so everybody who is inspired by Rocky could go down and see his beautiful statue, and they know that that they made the steps just like Rocky did in the movie. So that's basically it. Goodbye.